This is the Power Platform Daily Brief from CRM Audio for Monday, October 7th, 2019. I'm Joel Lindstrom, and this is what you need to know about the Power Platform today. Over the weekend, Microsoft published a blog post saying that the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Marketing 2019 Release Wave 2 update is rolling out starting now. It has some interesting information about the new features like being able to save as a segment, view milestones and customer journey lifecycle, and new design and design options for form submission, feedback, dialog boxes. A lot of new things coming to Dynamics 365 Marketing. The thing that got a lot of attention was it had a paragraph that said we no longer refer to the platform that supports sales, marketing, and service apps, among others, as customer engagement. Instead, we'll refer to this as the Common Data Service Platform. And so this got a lot of people in the community speculating that the customer engagement brand was dead, and instead it was going to be called the Common Data Service Platform. However, they updated that post 2 days later and removed that line from the post. So apparently that might be premature or maybe isn't happening. I don't know. In the ever-changing world of product branding, who can tell? But the one thing that is pretty clear is the word "for" is going away. So they are now calling Dynamics 365 for Marketing Dynamics 365 Marketing. And I think we'll see that across the other products as well, like Dynamics 365 Customer Service, Sales, Retail, Finance and Operations, things like that. And check out the blog post because it has some really cool new icons, and you can see they've got unified icons across the platform now that match kind of the styling of the Office icons, except for Power Platform. It's interesting that that's still the old Power Apps logo, so I'm not sure what to make of that. And if you didn't get a chance to see the Power Platform 24 virtual conference, good news. We've got the videos all posted now, all 24 of them. You can see them at 365.training/courses/detail/power24. Or just visit the blog post for this episode and click the link for it. And Microsoft last week published an update with more details about the new API limits. It softens it a little bit. A lot of people were concerned that normal internal actions would eat up their entire API limit, or that a large integration hitting a big, out of the ordinary large amount might stop their integration or get them fined or something like that. But they published an update, and the key details there is it doesn't count internal actions. So if you have internal actions the users are doing within the application, they don't count. And also things that run as system accounts don't count. So any things that run in any of the core applications are not going to count. It's going to also pull calls for non-interactive users, and you get 100,000 of those, and they will not stop the integration or charge you more if you occasionally go over. So it's not like you're going to give you a whammy if you occasionally exceed the limit, but it's a good thing in my opinion because it helps scale the pricing, making it less expensive for smaller users and users that use more, or customers that use more and do higher volumes and use more capacity realistically should pay more for that. So I think this clarifies a lot of things. There's still some questions, I think, around especially the licensing for Power Apps and Flow. I think for most Dynamics users, this isn't going to be a concern because the seeded flows and Power Apps are included within your licensing. But it's people that don't use Dynamics and for example, write Power Apps and flows that connect to Azure SQL. There's still some questions about the licensing for that and what the limits are. So, but this clarifies a lot of things, at least for us Dynamics users. And we're 1 week away from User Group Summit 2019. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be doing 2 sessions. I may sit in on a few more, but the 2 that I have on the schedule right now, one is about using Power Apps and Flow to improve your Common Data Service data quality. And I'm going to be doing that with my colleagues in the Hitachi Solutions MVP Army, Andrew Butanko and Matt Whitteman. So we're putting together our example apps and having some cool things. The scenario is going to be, in my opinion, the out-of-the-box data quality tools like duplicate detection are good but extremely limited. And so I'm going to show you some ways that I've used Power Apps and Flow to make that much better, especially for the data administrator, make it easier to identify duplicates instead of the standard interface that has a limit of 12 records, and easier or bulk ways to merge records as well and launch that from a Power App or Flow, and also score your records for data quality. And I'm also going to be doing a session with Dan Madden, and this is more of a roundtable type session, but it's about tips to drive an aggressive CRM roadmap in your organization. Dan has led some very large deployments of Dynamics for a couple of employers he's worked for, and been able to successfully deliver a very aggressive timetable, and aggressive roadmap. So that should be an interesting session, especially if you're an enterprise user of Dynamics 365. So I'd like to invite you to join me and thousands of other product users in Orlando this October 15th and 18th for the premier Microsoft Business Application Event of the Year User Group Summit, powered by Dynamic Communities. User Group Summit delivers 700 plus sessions, 600 plus speakers, including Microsoft keynotes and roadmap sessions. User Group Summit is unique because you can learn from your peers and become more proficient a product user. Do your job faster, more efficiently, and build your support network. If you use Microsoft ERP, CRM, or Power Platform products, this is the event to attend. Register today for the can't miss event. Visit na.usergroupsummit.com. I'd love to see you there. So good news, the Power Apps component framework is now generally available. It's no longer considered a preview, so now you can feel comfortable deploying it and using it in your production deployments. So go read the blog post. It's got some more information about the general availability as well as some of the changes that are being introduced as part of the GA process. And I had a great time on Friday speaking with Jim Novak, my fellow MVP, at the Microsoft Modern Teamwork and Collaboration Conference in Washington, D.C. It was a great time, a little bit out of my element because it was generally all Teams people there. But I use Teams every day, so I guess I'm kind of a Teams person too. But if you're not familiar with the Teams integration in Dynamics, for one thing, you can go to the link in the show notes for the Power Platform 24, and I had the last session there about it. But it's really a great thing, especially for certain types of users. In the session, we went over not only how to turn on the standard integration, and if you don't know, there's two different options. If you have Wave 2, the enhanced is really cool because not only will it give you the ability from just within Dynamics to create a team linked to the record, but also if you have a record that's shared or owned by a team of people, it will automatically prompt you to add them as users with the team. But then Jim showed some great stuff, and this was in the Power Platform. This was not in the Power Platform 24 session, but as part of our conference, some things with our interactive cards. I've decided that I no longer want to do email notifications, if at all possible. If I'm deploying Dynamics for somebody who has Teams, I'm going to use the interactive cards because they're sweet, they look good, and they're not annoying. And so Jim had some really good examples about winning an opportunity and creating an interactive card. So, but again, if you want to see at least the content about how to turn on and use the out of the box, as well as some Flow and Power Apps examples of how to extend it, go to the Power Platform 24 recordings and watch the last session. And Microsoft has released some of their internal Power Apps as employer. And finally, Microsoft has released some of their internal Power Apps and calling it the Employee Experience Starter Kit. What this is a handful of Power Apps that they use internally, and they're putting them out as kind of example apps about how a company can use Power Apps to give their employees a better experience. And so there's a few in here that they're all worth looking at, but there's a couple of them that I think could be useful for almost anybody. One of them is the People app, and what that is that's a way to browse your org chart from an app. If you work for a larger company, a lot of times it's hard to find people's information or know who's who, and or who reports to who. And so this is one way to do it. And again, it's a simple app that you can look at. It looks really good as well. The other one is that jumped out at me is the Kudos app. It's always good to send kudos to your fellow colleagues when they do things to help you out. And so the Kudos app at least might be a good example for you to look at as a way to leverage Power Apps to use for that purpose. This has been the Power Platform Daily Brief for Monday, October 7th, 2019. I'm Joel Lindstrom. Now you're up to date. Power on.